Okay. Today is part 8 of the collection. I'm going to get on some books that were not in the slots. They're above, propped above. Got my KGB watch on. That's right. We're still around, folks. Watch out. Okay, first up is a Penguin edition of The Quest of the Holy Grail. Like the medieval work here. They're all sitting around. The clergy and the monarchical, the royalty, of course. Like the colors and stuff of this. Of course, you get accounts from all the legends, miraculous ship, the legend of the Adventures of the Three Companions, legend of the Tree of Life, Trials and Temptations, Lancelot, the peregrinations of Percival. Love the alliteration. Really good stuff. Interesting. Regardless of your faith, you will like it. Trust me. From KGB. Alright, this is a really outstanding work by Richard Jefferies. Landscape with Figures. Selected prose writings, Penguin edition. Of course, this is a naturalist writing. He writes about trekking across all kinds of places. Outdoors in February, a London trout, the fish pond, the amateur poacher, hamlet folk, village architecture. It sort of reminds me of well, it's much better than, but it reminds me, it's more literary, of course, of a lot of anthropological writing before ethnographies and stuff took over. All right, here's another outstanding Balzac. It's the conclusion, second part of the Lucien Chardon books. There was book 1 and book 2, and this is the finale. A Harlot Highland Low. This is the downfall of Lucien de Rubempre, his fake royal background and all that stuff. It's really good. The French is Les Splendeurs et Misères de Courtisans. It's an excellent book, translated very well. And of course, it's part of the series Seasons of Parisian Life. It's really excellent. It's the second part, which begins with Lost Illusions of the trials and tribulations and ultimate decline and fall of Lucien Chardon, a provincial lad who just wanted to make it big in Paris. Excellent stuff. Highly recommended. Okay, next up is an excellent and funny light. Well, it's not light, but it's, it's kind of off the cuff, and it's really good. Graham Greene's The Comedians. Of course, it's about colonialism, that kind of stuff going in. They're going in to, get rid of the corrupt Papa Doc and the Tonton Macoute. Of course, the way this is told Graham Greene was very faithful to the empire, no matter where he went, Africa, Haiti, Cuba, wherever. You're going to get that kind of perspective, but it doesn't mean that this book isn't well written. It tells a good story, and that's about it. Good story meaning that it's well structured and it's entertaining. And that's all I will say on that. Okay, next up is a rather, I want to say odd, but it's just a strange work called René's Flesh by Virgilio Pineda. And excellent translation. It's a Latin American work. It's absurdist, existentialist, and all that. And it's well written. I really can't explain this book. It's kind of out there, but it's very good. You have horror, you have humor, you have all kinds of stuff. It's very good. René's Flesh. Highly recommended. Virgilio Pineda, however you want to pronounce that. All right, this is another excellent. This is a historical work, and I'm glad I got it. Ann Arbor Press. You got the University of Michigan there, but it's Ann Arbor Press. Ann Arbor Paperbacks. There you go. The Albigensian Crusades. These were crusades that happened in the, I believe, 13th century against a heretical sect of Christians in southern France. And very brutal. And the French kings were really into massacring these people. And there were about 2 or 3 waves of these crusades. And along, they went in counterpart with the crusades in the Middle East and stuff. And Acre and stuff like that, and trying to gain hold of Jerusalem and all that. So there were crusades in Europe. There were crusades against the Bogomils further east. A lot of mass death and stuff, terrible stuff. Okay, this is a classic. Leopold von Sacher-Masoch, and of course Masoch led to masochism, masochist. And it's Venus in Furs, and this is a really unforgettable read. It's well written and it's well done, and it's not as, it's florid. The prose is very florid, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. That's all I'll say. It's a German trying to write like an Italian or French sensualist, and it's pretty good. But of course it gets into masochism, which is, dare I say, very Teutonic. But that's a commonplace stereotype, which is not necessarily true. All right, here's a book. I just want to say, often when philosophers try to write novels, they write ones that make you feel nausea. And nausea, by Jean-Paul Sartre, is, as far as novels go, it's not terrible, but it really forces his existentialism a little much. Sort of like a ant carrying a useless boulder on its back, if I may use that analogy, or simile, because I use the word like. It's not good. Not bad, but it's not good either. All right, next up, a writer that is Turkish, Orhan Pamuk. It's called The New Life. And of course, this is in line with Vita Nuova by Dante, but a little twist and difference, of course. Vita Nuova is the model, but it's not the essence of the content, of course. It's a Turkish novel about a young man and how his life has changed and all this stuff, and it's very good. Pamuk is very good. If you have a chance to get his novels, get them. They're well written. Okay, here's another one of my favorite writers out of Indonesia, Pramedia Ananta Tour. And this is All That Is Gone. And again, this is about persecution against certain people in Indonesia, and the changes in their lifestyles and all that other stuff. And it's a great book. I highly recommend it. Promedius Anantatur cannot go wrong. He's a good writer, good stories, a lot of he writes in a very political manner, but it's not overbearing. He tells a story, and I really admire that ability of his to not allow the politics, which are important and they're a part of our everyday lives, but he definitely incorporates it into the work, and you see it, and it's not heavy-handed, and he really does it well. which is a more effective way, I think, of criticizing political wrongs and tyranny. And that's all I'm going to say about that book, which is a great book. Anything by Pramedia Anantatur is going to be excellent, especially his mute soliloquies about his time spent at the Beru Island camps. That is incredible stuff. So, okay, next up, a different vein, is Anne Radcliffe, the great Gothic writer, the Italian. Look at that image. You can actually see her, well, you know what, starts with an N, ends with nipples. Very interesting image there. Nice painting. This book is, of course, about villainous monks and the wrongs they do and blah blah blah. It could have been written in Spain in the 14th, 15th century. Very good stuff, very Gothic and very entertaining. You won't regret reading it. It is good, very good. Radcliffe can write pot boilers. She can write suspense, and she's very good at drawing evil characters and good. And the contrast between them she highlights is outstanding. Next up, very short, slim volume from Modern Library, Return of the Soldier by Rebecca West. Just an outstanding book about a shell-shocked soldier who comes back from the war. It's really, the writing is it's just a very touching book to read. It's like when it's hot outside and you feel this cool breeze on your shoulders. Reading this book is sort of like that experience. It's just it's a terrible subject matter, but her writing is so beautiful that it kind of makes it more effective, what she's talking about, and highlights it even more. Okay, this is a book that I haven't gotten around to. Stephen Spender's The World Within World by Stephen Spender. And this is about him returning to America, as I see in the blurb in the back. I love blurbs because they're always so funny. And he's met tons of famous people like Virginia Woolf, William Butler Yeats, T.S. Eliot, Auden, Christopher Sherwood, those kind of people. I heard he was good. I will read this at some time, but I will not rush to read it. Okay, next up is a book that I don't know why I bought. It's called The Song of Bernadette by Franz Werfel. I don't know what it's about, but I bought it for like $1. And it's in pretty good condition, and it's an old book, so I might read it sometime. I don't know what it's about. There's no blurb, nothing to help me. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Next up, I read this book about a decade ago, and I saw it and forgot reading about it. It's called A Miracle Universe, Settling Accounts with Torture by Lawrence Weschler. And this is just outstanding stuff about the use of torture in South Africa, Cambodia, and other places. In Chile, blah, blah, blah. And even in the back, he uses blurbs to some of the perpetrators, like Pinochet, when asked about the book, he said, lies, all lies. The author is a liar and a hypocrite. Well, Pinochet may have a certain point there, because he was just a lackey and court dog for the United States imperialism. He was put into power by them and aided by them in the ruthless coup that he underwent. But he's not. That doesn't make him innocent. He's still a terrible person when he did. Okay, next up is a great history of Alexander written during the Roman period by Quintus Curtius Rufus. History of Alexander. It's probably one of the best histories of Alexander. Very meticulous. Good stuff. Roman historians tend to be very thorough and very good. Kind of like it. Okay, I'm getting near the end here. I'm going to go to a book by Balzac. This is an old book, published in... hold on. It's important to me, so it must be important to you. It must be. You know what? I don't even have a publishing date on this book. Hold on. There has to be. Okay. So this was published in 1900. And look at this image of Balzac. Isn't that great? He was kind of portly. Okay, this is Parisians in the Country, Gaudissart the Great, Music Department, Lily of the Valley. And it's got illustrations and stuff. It's a really good volume and pretty good condition despite the outer appearance. Kind of like it. Another Balzac from the Caxton Press. And this is a really stately... This was printed in 1896. And this is History of the 13, which I have in another edition. But I still got this because I just like the book. It's so neat, and it's got this little thing in the front. I really like it. Okay, last up, Cousin Henry, Anthony Trollope. I like the portrait in front. It's about an insurance clerk who's been disinherited and the stuff he has to go through. It's a very good work. It's not part of the Palliser or Barchester series of novels, but it's very good. And I'm going to end with a really good book that I just read recently. No, I read this a long time ago. Pardon. It's called Spring Torrents by Ivan Turgenev, great Russian prose writer. It's about a young man who falls in love with a older woman. And it's a common theme with Turgenev, with the younger man falling in love with an older, not much older, but an older woman. And, you know, stuff happens and there's a lot of, just doesn't work. And Turgenev is, that's his wheelhouse. He's very good at it. All right, I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, whatever you want to call it. Just remember, I'm KGB. Have a great day, folks. Bye-bye.